This is a video web assessment for Scott Russo.
We're starting at Google, where everyone looks for everything, and we're going to look for you in three key buckets. First is your name, also known as your brand. Second is your service line, the type of doctor that you are. Third, we're looking for conditions and treatments. Now, these are ever broadening circles, but you want to make sure that you show up in all of them because your competitors just might.
When we look for you just by your name, I get a Twitter feed from Scott Russo, the art dealer. I also have Scott Russo, PhD, and I've got your health grades down here with a little rating. We'll talk about rating in just a minute. Then I've got a Wikipedia, IMDb. There's a lot of you running around, but so far, other than health grades, I'm not finding you by just your name. Now, when I go and add MD, you notice that it pops up here and shows me MD, but it also shows me that people are localizing their search, looking for you both in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and just Grand Rapids. And we see that the staff page comes up number one. Number two is this interestingly named page, person ID equals 32. That's your number in case you didn't know it. When we click on that one, I pull up the complete bio that I would have found if I had clicked on the first one that comes up and is catching your name here because your name is used on this staff page. And when I scroll down, I've got read more, which tells me another paragraph, and then I had the read full bio. So maybe I read it, maybe I didn't. Only your tracking can tell us for sure how many people are coming in and on which page they come in. But let's take one more look and notice that I've got you showing up with a Google Plus page. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's take one last look at the third and final one is Dr. Scott Russo, and here's that health grades and that rating again. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what these stars and ratings mean to you.
When we look at your name, we might see little stars or links to health grades, vitals, you compare, or any of the other so-called review sites. These pull public information, and the ratings that are out there, well, you probably didn't send those patients there. There are usually very few ratings, and they're what we call volatile. They're either the extremes, good or bad. So what you want to do is make sure that you create a web presence that has enough content to shove these reviews down. That is the only guaranteed way to get rid of any type of negative information. Put something above it. Now, you also want to make sure that you use Google Places. If this is showing up for you, good. Claim it, own it, and ask your patients to start reviewing you. Reviews are something in our immediate future. Let's take advantage of it right now.
And as we mentioned, Google Places, you notice that when I searched for you by MD, we did get a Google Plus page, and it shows this very large ID over here. And notice that it shows reviews from vitals.com. So I've clicked on the Google Plus page, and usually I don't see any activity or evidence that someone has claimed it. But on yours, there's a photo, there's a little quote about you, but there's no reviews, there's no posts, there's no nothing on here. So I think there's a little bit more to go on this to where we can really make this a page that A, is effective in terms of a Google Plus local page, and B, helps you get all your personal marketing up to the top and push some of these other things that we saw down. That health grades thing, we're going to come back and address that, but this is where Google Vitals can help, Google Plus can help you by eliminating these types of reviews by substituting reviews that you drive from within your own practice to Google Plus page. We can talk more about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at your website itself, and I want to talk about a couple of things that I noticed, and I'll just start at the very beginning. One of the key things that you want to use on your website is the real estate that search engines look for, and unfortunately it's none of this. It doesn't see pictures, it reads words, and the most important word is right here. See where it says orthopedic/orthopedic? Now somebody thought it was smart to spell it both ways. Actually, Google knows better, so you could just use one. Physicians in Grand Rapids. And then we have this little pipe character, and glommed on is Orthopedic of Michigan. This is called the title. This is what, when you are on Google, this right here is the title that's in that little bar up here. So notice where it says Physicians and Staff or dash Orthopedic Associates of Michigan, which is your person ID equals 32 page. This should have your name, not orthopedic specialist surgeons. The reason it doesn't have your name is this website is built in such a way that it's calling up, based on the number, some doctor. So they don't have an actual physical page specifically devoted to you. Now, with some code changes, I'm sure they could take this content and put it up here. What it should be ideally, though, is Dr. Scott S. Russo, MD, orthopedic spine surgeon, orthopedic associate, or Grand Rapids, Michigan. We don't even need the practice name in here because we're optimizing this for you, not the practice name. Okay, so let's look at a couple of other things that I want to show you. We know about you have your name on this page and you have a detailed page, but you have really nothing other than you went to school and here's your memberships. You've got a link to your eSurgeon site. Now, I like seeing that because I created eSurgeon, but I like seeing it because it shows that you're caring about patient education. Looking on here under patient, I'm not seeing anything at all. Now, I'm focusing on spine because you're spine, and when I pull this up and look at it, I see conditions, I see some discussion about services, and notice that I have a link to physical therapy, but I don't have a link to surgery or pain management or any of the other things that you do, or surgery or what have you that you provide. And then I see this nice television commercial you did. It's all over the place. So that's another thing I don't see is videos of you. I don't have spine content. So I, your patient, will have to go elsewhere. Now, if I was fortunate enough to have noticed that link of yours, I would have gone to my eSurgeon site and looked a little bit. But the eSurgeon site, all things considered, it's a little bit dated. So I'll show you some solutions when we get a chance to talk and show you this huge library of patient education content that we create. All right, so let's look at a couple other things. One thing I noticed, and this is what I usually see a fail on, is a recognition that the majority of people, maybe not in your place, but it's trending rapidly towards the majority of people are using their phone to look up things. They get seized by an idea, oh, I wonder about, and they whip out their phone and look it up. You can walk out into the waiting room, see people standing there looking at their phones. They all have this heads down look. So I was pleased to see Orthopedic Associates of Michigan does have a mobile presence, and you're following good design. It's called responsive. This isn't a separate site. It's actually the same site. Now, again, I see a couple of things. This is a rather lengthy little thing I've got here, and I'd want to show you. This is one of my clients, Premier Orthopedics, and you notice that we use drop-down menus. So I've got all of the content at the very beginning of the web page, and I can see everything without having to scroll around. So see, there's my nice Premier Orthopedic, back pain, hip pain, and I rotate out on the front page a different doctor. So everybody gets onto the front page. That's another thing you might consider doing. So the site has some good things. It has some things that can be fixed. I looked at your Facebook page, and this is something where I wanted to find a tie-in between the website, and you obviously are promoting social media a little bit. So when we go to OA Michigan, well, we got 1,500. That's pretty good. But here's what I'm seeing. Again, this is that focus on the commercial, so I'm assuming you had an agency involved and they put a lot of this together. And I see someone posted 6 hours ago, we know hand surgery. And then on May 24th, something about Memorial Day, and then May 20th, and then May 17th. So you see what I'm seeing. These are some nice little things. Here's the doctor. There's some more agency influence there. Here's something about a tendon transplant and just some odds and ends. Really, this is good, but what I'm not seeing and haven't seen yet is your name. I see we're promoting community seminar, and I think the reason we don't see this is because you don't have a lot of content to tie to it. Now, let me show you a little bit of a fail here. Here is Dr. Sam Agnew. He was just added on to your team, and here's this nice little bit from Orthopedic Associates announcing him, right? And then there's the picture that the agency put together, and then somebody says, thank you, Dr. Bohe. I don't know what that has to do with Dr. Agnew. But let's go back and look on your website. And I want you to notice that on your blog way down here, we have Welcome, Dr. Agnew. Now you notice this is a whole page all by itself about Dr. Agnew. It could be deeper, but it's not. And notice it had 0. Did you see that? It had 0 likes. Okay, so what I'm showing you, there you go, 0 likes. What I'm showing you is you've got a blog strategy of sorts. People are plugging in content. And there's something from the physical therapist, and then here's something about bone health, but that was back in April. So you've got a blog. The reason you do a blog is to echo this content, link it out on Facebook, on Twitter, etc. The Dr. Agnew content that I just showed you is not linked here. So you're not really drawing anybody into the depths of the site where all of your content is. Facebook is very limited. It's just got this little blurb. Now you did down here give credit to somebody. They linked it. However, they did to the blog, not to the article. And so I don't see it unless I scroll down. Okay, so there's some kind of efforts, initiative going on, but it looks a little disjointed. I got a suspicion you've got a lot of sort of agency involvement. I don't know. Would love to talk to you some more about how to leverage this, because social media, whether we like it or not, is something we've got to take into account. So I've shown you a number of things. I've got more stuff I'd love to talk to you about and kick around some ideas on how we can help you get marketed a little better, both on your name, on service line, and on conditions. We didn't really go through those. I'd love to get on a call with you, and we'll look at that, because when I search for you in those buckets, I'm not finding you. OAM shows up some, but we can do better. Hope to talk to you soon. Thank you for your